Welcome to Coaching Conversations. I'm Dr. Bradford Cooper with the Catalyst Coaching Institute. And today I want to walk you through a strategy that I think you'll find helpful not only with your clients, although you can utilize this across the full spectrum of the things you're working on with your clients, but you also might want to use it in your own life. Now, I'm going to be pulling most of my info from a research study we did as I was going through my PhD work. It's linked down below. So if you want to dig into these details, it's there. Feel free to pop that up. And by the way, while you're down there, if you don't mind clicking that like button, subscribe if this is helpful. That'd be awesome too. But the way the study was constructed is we had 3 runners, and they came to the track multiple times, between 10 and 15 times over about a 10-week period. And they would run an 800 meters, which is 2 laps of the track, as hard as they possibly could. All out effort. And again, we did this multiple times as a baseline before we changed anything. And then after we got that baseline established, we gave them this tool. We implemented this strategy. These 3 runners, all 3 of them saw improvement. But folks, they didn't just see improvement. They improved by 6, 9, and 12%. I mean, think about that. Just as a baseline, speaking of baselines, coffee, the most utilized, probably the most studied performance enhancer that we have, 2.3% improvement. So these 3 runners saw an improvement that was 2, 3, and 4 times that of an incredibly well-established performance enhancer. What was it? Self-talk. Self-talk. Now, self-talk has been studied extensively. It's generally utilized in sporting contexts. We could do a full weekend course on self-talk, frankly. There's so much depth to it. But let me give you some basics, some things that you can utilize to start off with your clients, and then maybe it'll spur something in you that says, hey, I would like to dig into that a little bit more. So what you want to do is you first want to establish your baseline. Just like we did with the runners. We wanted to get how fast are they with whatever they were doing previously, and we wanted to find out what was their prior self-talk. What were they utilizing before we implemented this personalized strategy? So you want to do the same thing with your clients or in your own life. You want to identify, what am I saying now? I think you'll be surprised. I think if you really take the time to reflect on this, or your client takes the time to reflect on this, you'll start thinking, well, wow, that's not helping me at all. A lot of us, our self-talk is more of like a downward spiral. So that's the first baseline you want, is what is my current self-talk? What am I currently saying? And then you want, if possible, and this isn't always possible in coaching scenarios in terms of health and wellness, but it usually is in some way, and that is you want some sort of performance baseline. So for our runners, it was their time. How long did it take them to run these 2 laps? For your client or for yourself, it's something around the goal that they're trying to achieve. So if they're struggling with something like turning the TV off at a certain time so they get a better sleep, well, that's pretty easy to measure, isn't it? Or if it's food choices at lunch or dinner or something like that, well, that's not quite as easy to measure as the time of bed, but it's still pretty easy. So again, you just want to create some sort of a baseline so we have something to compare. We're not just going, oh yeah, it seemed better. It did. So you want to get those 2 baselines. And then try a couple of strategies. Now, the 2 initial techniques I'm going to share with you here, again, they're 2 out of a number of aspects of self-talk that you can draw on. But the 2 I want to introduce you to, because they're easy to utilize, they make sense cognitively, they'll make sense for your clients as well. They're instructional and motivational. And they're frankly just like they sound. Instructional self-talk is instructing yourself. It's like you're the coach sitting there on the shoulder reminding them, these are the things we want to remember, these are the things we're looking for. So for a runner, instructional self-talk might be something like drive with the arms. Push off that first toe. You're instructing yourself. It's not a coach doing it, you're doing it yourself. Motivational self-talk, on the other hand, would be something like, come on, Coop, you got this, you can do this. And interestingly, there was a study looking at the difference between you got this, even though I'm saying it to myself, and I got this, and the you got this actually had better results. So maybe file that away as an interesting tidbit as well. So let's look at an example. Let's say that you have a client or you struggle with eating a healthy lunch. Okay, so that's what we're going to measure. We want a baseline of what are we currently saying as we approach that opportunity, that situation, and what are we currently doing. So your baseline self-talk, reflect on it, write it down, and what do you usually eat? So there's our baseline. Now we've got it measured to a point. Now let's see what happens when we introduce self-talk. Now we're going to play with this a little bit. There's no magic words. There's no, this is what everyone uses. You're different than the next person. Your clients are all going to be different. So you're going to play with this. You're going to use a little bit more instructional sometimes. You're going to use a little more motivational sometimes. You're going to use different types of each of those at other times. So you're going to play with it. But initially, maybe it's something like, your instructional self-talk might be something like, okay, Coop, we got a big meeting this afternoon. And then this is as I'm walking to the cafeteria or driving to the restaurant or whatever it might be. You got a big meeting this afternoon. Let's fuel up so we're have a chance to make the most of this whole thing. All right? Get the idea? So I'm instructing myself. And maybe you added that with some additional instruction, not just let's fuel, but let's get some significant different colors on the plate and remember to get your protein source. All right? So it's instructional. There might be a little motivational tone in there, but that piece of it is generally instructional. The motivational piece might be something like, all right, Coop, let's do this. Big time payoff this afternoon. Remember that big meeting. You got to nail this thing. Let's eat, let's fuel, and be ready for it. So you see the mix there? And then check the results. Did I eat better that day? Did I choose better foods that day? What was the outcome? So at that point, we know if it helped. Maybe we need to tweak it a little bit more. Self-talk is a tool. There's no such thing as magic. Yes, we got some pretty good results in that study with the runners, but even that wasn't magical. There were other aspects playing in there, and you'll have that as well. But it's a tool, and a tool becomes more effective the more we use it. So this is something you want to keep playing with, keep working with, and find out for that individual client what is the most effective strategy. There are a lot of other tools along these lines at catalystcoachinginstitute.com, and we're always available. So if you want to email us, it's results@catalystcoachinginstitute.com. We'd love your comments. Where did this help? Where did it not help? What things did you try? So pop down there if you're up for it, if you want some feedback, and give us some ideas of where did you try this? How did it work? And as always, if you don't mind subscribing or clicking that like button, we really appreciate that as well. So I hope this helps. It's powerful stuff if it's utilized. Again, the tool is only effective if we utilize it. So I hope this was helpful. This is Dr. Bradford Cooper signing out. I'll see you soon. Take care.